Hey guys, how's everyone doing? It's Elana. How are you? We're about to start a cooking class. This is Passover edition 2. Although I tried to get as many non-Jews in here as possible because I know that everybody loves matzo balls. And we're going to be making my very famous flourless chocolate blender cakes, which are incredibly easy, fabulous all year round, and requires absolutely no cooking skills. So just to let you know, we are on Instagram. I see you here, and I'm on Zoom over there. We were supposed to be going from Zoom streaming live to Facebook, and there has been an issue. This live streaming thing has been a little bit, taken a little bit of life out of me. But so if anybody who is on our Zoom call, I know that we're welcoming the community from Palm Beach. Anyone on our Zoom call, if you have friends that are going to be watching me on Facebook, we did send an email out to you guys, but you can let them know this is the way place to come, or to Instagram at Elana Horwich. And okay, so here we are. I'm Elana. I am the author of Meal and a Spiel, How to Be a Badass in the Kitchen, and I am a teacher of intuitive cooking. And we have been teaching our cooking classes here on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4 p.m. Pacific. And I've got like already stuff boiling on here because I've got it ready for you. Just a quick intro about it. So today, since it's a Passover class, I want to lead you to see that I'm wearing a special pin. This is my Lion of Judah pin. It is a pin of Jewish Women's Philanthropy, and I am wearing it because I am proud to be a Jewish woman. I am proud to be a Jewish woman who is extremely confident and good in the kitchen. And I am proud that it is my job to turn other women into proud, confident, badass cooks. And I want to remind all of you that just the way that when you give your body to someone else, you are giving them your soul in the most primal way. When you give your cooking, you are giving your heart in the most primal way. So what we are doing here is not just a little cooking lesson on how to eat well or how to make your stomach or your mouth happy. We are expanding our hearts, and we are raising the energy of the universe. So we are really, cooking is a form of prayer, and I invite you to join that in with me. So if you'll see that I want to remind you that this is a live cooking class, that you can ask questions throughout the class in the chat box. So please go ahead and do that. You know, I've got a question about what you're doing, Elana, or I have a question about an ingredient I have in my house and I do not know what to do with it. Whatever your questions are, bring them in. I have my computer over here, and I will be looking at it every so often, where I will be answering your questions. And I really love getting your questions, so please bring it. Oh my God, I'm schwitzing in here already. I want to say a special welcome to the community of Palm Beach, Florida. If you guys are here, hello. I'm so happy to have you, and I hope that I get to meet you in person. I go to Miami and teach cooking classes all the time. Can't wait to go to Palm Beach. So let me tell you what we're going to be making today. We're going to be making my flourless chocolate cakes, and we're going to be making matzo ball soup. First, I'm going to show you my flourless chocolate cakes, and then I'm going to show you matzo ball soup. I did a little pre-prep, so it doesn't take all the time, okay? So it's not going to, we've allocated 60 minutes. I don't think we're going to be here for that long, but let me just show you exactly what to do and remind you, please type in your questions as you go. We love it. Okay, I love it. So first things first, it's a little hot in here. Let's talk about flourless chocolate cakes. Woo! We're making flourless chocolate blender cakes. And essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to take melted chocolate. So I'm going to melt the chocolate by I have a boiling water here, and I'm just putting a bowl, a heat-proof bowl, I mean, mine is just like a ceramic soup bowl, on top of it, and I'm going to melt the chocolate. So let's talk about what chocolate we're using. By the way, this recipe is in my book, Meal and a Spiel, How to Be a Badass in the Kitchen, and a version of it is in my Passover Recipe Bible, which you can get by going on my website and signing in, and we send it to you. And I want to let you know that I am making half the recipe. Why? Because it's me at home and I'm not about to eat 8 flourless chocolate cakes. I'm gonna eat 1 and I'm gonna deliver the rest of the batter over to my parents, just like a lot of these matzo balls that I'm gonna be making. So I'm just gonna cut up just take it out and put the chocolate directly into this bowl, and it's already beginning to melt. So let's talk about what chocolate I'm using. I'm using dark chocolate, 70% chocolate, okay? I'm also using very good quality chocolate. This is the best. This is Valrhona. So if you're using, using Hershey's, you're not getting what I'm talking about here. We are using dark chocolate and the best quality. This Valrhona, you can get at Trader Joe's. I love green and blacks. I love any good dark chocolate that you find is going to be good. But remember, we're not using a lot of ingredients, so the best ingredients are going to be the most important. While this is melting here, I'm going to start to add the rest of my ingredients into my blender. Now, the blender that I'm using is a Vitamix. I don't sell it, though I should, because literally I'm going to like sing its praises right now. It's a super high-powered blender. Any blender's going to do. If you were to learn, this is essentially like a souffle cup. If you were to learn how to make a souffle in France, you know, it's super precision oriented and not my thing. This is not precision oriented. Let me show you a picture of what we're making. This is what we're making. They're going to be in souffle cups, and they're going to rise, and then they are going to fall, and that's okay. So we're going to eat them, you know, you're going to put them in the oven about a half an hour before you want to eat them, right as you sit down to dinner, and then they'll be done. And if they end up falling, doesn't matter, still delicious. Who cares? We have a delicious flourless dessert that has very little sugar, no dairy, and excellent chocolate. So as this is melting, I'm going to just get that up a little bit higher to get that melting. I'm going to add other ingredients. My recipe calls for 4 eggs for 8 flourless chocolate cakes. I am having the recipe, this was already cracked, so forgive me, because I am only gonna make half of them. I don't wanna waste any food. You know what, we should never waste food, but definitely these days, we are not gonna waste food. I am also gonna use some cacao powder. So this is unsweetened cacao powder. If you don't have it, you can skip this aspect. You can add a little bit more dark chocolate. If you only have like hot chocolate mix, you could put it in, but then you're gonna really not wanna put any sugar in it. I'm only using a little sugar to begin with. So I'm gonna add about 1.5 tablespoons. That's for a half a measurement. So it's like 2.5 tablespoons is the normal go on this. And then I'm going to add coconut milk. So I have a can of coconut milk here. Some of you will not. I know that. If you don't use coconut milk, you can use half and half or cream. What we're looking for is something thick and creamy. In my full recipe, I am using a full can of coconut milk. But in a half recipe, I'm not only just gonna use half, I'm actually gonna go in, because coconut milk can separate itself. Look, do you see that liquidy part? That's not the part I'm gonna use. I'm gonna use the fatty, creamy part. So I'm gonna take out that. That's the good stuff, okay? So I'm gonna really reach in for that fatty, creamy part, a little bit of the liquid, and that is what I'm going for there. And another thing that we're gonna add is just a touch of coffee. Okay, so this is decaf coffee. I was just drinking it. Good quality coffee. Don't use, I mean, please, I don't use instant coffee. Like, use good quality. We're only doing a few ingredients. That's the best thing. And we're gonna just put in a little bit of coffee in there. And the last, well, not the last, almost the last ingredient is some sugar. So we're just using 2.5 tablespoons of sugar, but I'm having the recipe. So I'm just gonna put in about a tablespoon and a half. If you're wondering, how does she do this without measuring? Here's the thing, guys. I am not a pastry chef. I am not, my dessert recipes are pretty much foolproof. Anybody can make them. But my pastry recipes, my dessert recipes are not, perfect, and yet they come out perfectly every time. So don't be so precious about it. It's all gonna be good. And the last ingredient that I am going to use is olive oil. So normally in a recipe like this, we would use butter, but we are using olive oil. So putting in a few tablespoons of olive oil, and the next thing I'm going to do with olive oil, actually, while I have it out, is I'm going to grease my ramekins. So this is about a 5-ounce ramekin, and this is a bigger one. You can do whatever size you have. It's just gonna take more or less time in the oven. So I'm gonna go with a smaller one, and I might actually even not fill it entirely because I want it to cook on time on camera today. But you know, use what you have. And by the way, if you don't have any ramekins, you can do this in a baking dish. Stacy Feinberg-Brolowski does it all the time in a baking dish. She lets me know, and it comes out perfectly. So the next thing I need to do, excuse me, is use my Matzo gloves here. Gloves are just a little hard to do. Forgive me. Hold on, let me figure this out. Pull up this bowl and pour in the chocolate. And you can see it coming down. I think it's just hard for me to hold, so I cannot barely do this while showing you the camera. But I think you trust me that this is melted chocolate in here and it's going in, okay? So that is just 1 bar of chocolate. Normally it would be 2 bars for 8 different ones. But here's the thing, guys. Everyone's having a smaller Seder this year. If you decide that you want to make a full batch, you can keep these in the fridge and then use it, bake it as you want. The only problem with that is that it will not get quite as puffy. So you might want to like bring it to room temperature and blend it up again. So here is my Vitamix, and I'm going to put it on. Hold on, I gotta see what I'm doing here. Okay, there we go. Next thing is I have my ramekin. Oh, I was talking about the ramekins, but I hadn't oiled it yet. So I'm just gonna use a little bit of oil on here. You know, it's a little tricky. I've got to keep everything in like a very small space so you guys can see it. So I'm just gonna use a little bit of olive oil to grease my ramekin. To be honest with you, I might have added a little too much. I'll just add it in there. It's good. And I'm gonna pour it in. Okay, it's not a bad idea to taste it just to make sure I know it's raw egg, but still. It's perfect. It's amazing. Okay, the rest of this is going in a Tupperware and going to my parents' house, and they're gonna bake it themselves. This is going in the oven, and we will look at that in a little bit of time. I am putting it, well, it goes in a 350-degree oven, and you should keep it there for about a half an hour until it stops jiggling. I'll show you. I right now have it in a higher oven. That's because I am an expert of this recipe, and I like to do things on camera in a way that works fast. So what I put it in is a 400-degree convection. I don't recommend you do that at home unless you're rushed for some reason, but like, where are you going? Don't rush. So let's get this out of the way. And I am going to see if we have any questions. So now is a great time to ask your questions. And okay, question. Can I use coconut milk? Jenny is asking me, can I use coconut milk that I have, you know, for cereal, which I'm imagining it comes in a carton or something like that, Jenny? Can you? Yes. Would I recommend it? No. We're in a time right now where we're gonna use what we have. So if that's what you have, absolutely use it. Just know that your flourless, not dough, your batter is gonna be a little looser, a little more liquidy, and as a result, you may need to bake it longer, or you just use a little bit less. So you might wanna thicken it, you know, so maybe you just use a little bit less because it's not quite as fatty. If you don't have the coconut milk, also you can use half and half or heavy cream. Obviously, yours does not need to be dairy free. I just really don't eat a lot of dairy, and it's just healthier and it's good omegas. Oh gosh, I got a lot of questions here. Let me move this in here. Danielle Horwich, my sister, says it looks amazing. Hi, Danielle. How much half and half? Well, let's see. If this can, Sandy is asking us, is 13.5 full ounces, then it's 6 ounces of half and half. You can look up what that is. You know, it's probably 3/4 of a cup or something like that. Somebody says, Taverna Tony says he's cooking my broth right now. Happy Passover. Lots of love is getting sent my way. Is coconut cream okay, Auntie? Sure. You mean if you have a cup of coconut cream, a can of coconut cream, that would be fantastic. That should be great. If you need a little extra liquid, you could add a splash of coffee or something, an extra splash of coffee. Can I use chocolate chips instead of a chocolate bar if you don't have any handy, says Miss Gold. Well, listen, this is the days of use what you have. So I'm definitely not going to tell you to go to the market if you don't have chocolate. Like, use what you have. What I'm going to tell you is that I hope the chocolate chips that you have in your house are strong. You know, we're not looking for like baby, kids chocolate chips. We're looking for very good quality. Absolutely, use the chocolate that you have, but if your chocolate, let's say, is not 70%, it's 50% or less, you might want to use more of this straight cacao powder. Joyce Nybart, can I explain the difference between convection and regular bake? Absolutely, Joyce. Convection oven has like a fan at the back of the oven and it starts blowing the heat. So it does two things. One is it ensures that what's on the top shelf and on the bottom shelf cook at the same time. So that's if you do cookie oven, like it's like cooks the same, but it also makes the whole oven hotter. So I don't recommend it normally for people, especially as you are getting more comfortable with your oven. But excuse my French, if you need to speed shit up, and often in cooking classes I do, jack it up to convection and let it go. I've actually catered parties in Joyce's house before, and I think I've had to convection the vegetables at your house because we were running late with the vegetables and everyone's sitting down to dinner, so I jack it up to convection, and that makes it go faster. You risk burning, but you also make it good browning. So that is the answer. What about coconut oil, says Karen, instead of milk? The coconut oil is not going to be able to replace the coconut milk, but the coconut oil can replace the olive oil. In fact, my original recipe was with coconut oil, and I switched it to olive oil because in this book, Meal and the Spiel, I don't use any coconut oil, and I don't like the idea of someone having to go buy coconut oil for one recipe. So I just stuck with olive oil in it, and it goes so well. I use, Jean's asking me how much coconut milk did I use? My full recipe is a can. I used half a can. I think I already answered that. Can I use evaporated milk or sweetened condensed milk? Okay, well, you can. However, the problem with sweetened condensed milk, I don't know what evaporated milk really is, so don't use it, is that it's very, very, very sweet. And you're gonna have very sweet dessert, and it's not gonna be healthy, as healthy as I do mine. However, if that is what you have, go for it. Maybe use a little less, and then don't add any sugar. The beauty of these Flourless chocolate cakes is that they're very dark in chocolate and very light in sugar. It's like it gets the chocolate right into your veins, you know? Like if you could inject chocolate to my veins, I would do that. That would be my drug choice. Oh, Sandy Abrams says she's made it with coconut cream and it's amazing. Yes, Linda, you can use whipping cream. And how much coffee should I add? Should it be cooled? I added, I think for my full recipe is like a 1/4 cup of coffee, so a half of that, a couple tablespoons. Don't be so precious about it. It does not need to be cooled. It can totally be hot. Okay, so those are your questions for now. I am now going to shift gears into matzo ball mode, and we are going to do that. So if you have further questions, you can keep asking them. Just know that I am switching into matzo ball mode. All righty, so get stuff out of the way. Okay, let's see, where do I begin? Matzo balls. Smells delicious in here, by the way. Okay, let's go into matzo ball mode. So we're gonna do matzo balls a little bit in a reverse order because I wanted to have stuff prepped for you on camera so you can see all of the steps. It's very easy to make matzo balls. I'm gonna just walk you through it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm gonna show you not in the same order. So what you're gonna do first is you're gonna make a matzo ball mix. You're gonna mix it up in the way that I show you, and then it goes in the fridge. And it needs to be in the fridge at least 4 hours, if not overnight. The reason is, and I've already done some, is that it will not stick together and form a ball unless it has been in the fridge, okay? It's delicious, and I know there's raw egg in there, but it's really good. Then you are going to make a chicken broth. And that chicken broth is going to be the soup that you serve the matzo balls in. Separately, and what I have in front of me, let me see this. There's people over here on Instagram, you can't see my chicken broth, but there it is. Separately, you're going to make a faux broth that is going to be used only to cook your matzo balls, okay? After cooking matzo balls in this faux broth, oh my God, I'm really steaming up here. This broth is going to be cloudy and you're not going to be serving it with the soup, okay? So you have 3 things going on. You're making matzo mix, you are making chicken broth, and you are making this faux broth. So it's like really hot, because the reason why I'm not turning it down, because I was going to surprise you, I have 1 matzo ball cooking in here. I can show you what's going on right now. Let's see. Oh my gosh, it's already so beautiful. Hold on, wait till you see this. You guys are gonna plot. All right, so, oh my God, look at this. Do you see this? I mean, we have like a matzo ball happening in here. I think it still needs a little bit more time. I'm just gonna leave it there, but I'll leave it uncovered. So, where do I begin? I'm gonna begin by teaching you how to make a chicken broth, okay? I did teach a soup class a couple weeks ago, so I taught this to a lot of you, so it's just going to be a reminder, and it's going to be very easy. And if you want my full chicken broth recipe, it's in my Passover recipe Bible, and of course, it's in Neil Spiel, my no chop chicken broth. What goes into broth? Okay, what goes into chicken broth is carrot, onion, celery, something green, which I'm going to show you what that can look like, and chicken bones. So in my case, I had to, I don't have tons of extra stuff around here, so the chicken bones that I use are chicken legs, okay? So I will be able to eat the meat afterwards, but for chicken broth, you don't need to use expensive cuts of meat. You're either using backs or necks. People use feet. I don't use the feet because I can't, but they're like very, very flavorful. You can use thighs, wings, use what's inexpensive because you want to use as much as possible, okay? I just have about 1.5 pounds of chicken in here. I wish I had more. That's all the chicken I have, so I'm making a smaller pot of chicken broth. I put an entire onion in here, okay? I did not skin it. I kept the skin in there because the skin is very flavorful. So what you're seeing happening right now is me putting more skin in here there's more skin in here to show you how good skin is, and it adds a really nice flavor. And not just flavor, but also color. So you can see I have chicken broth happening here. It's not done yet. Okay, carrot I have in here. By the way, look at this carrot. It looks disgusting. It has lost most of its life in my fridge for the past couple weeks. So it can go into broth, even though I'm not going to snack onto it. So don't throw it away. Floppy carrot is still usable. Celery also, it's okay if it's floppy, that goes directly in there. So how much? I'm going to ask you guys to follow the recipes that I have in my book and on my Passover recipe Bible. But I'll tell you this much: you can't put too much stuff in your broth. You can put in 2 onions, 5 carrots, 4 pieces of celery, 3 pounds of chicken. That's what we're looking for. Something green. So what I have for something green is parsley. You can definitely, add parsley to it. Something else that can go in there, so I'm saving the leaf for later. Hold on for a second. Is a bay leaf, Bay leaf is wonderful in a chicken broth. And then we also have a couple little guys in here. These are cloves, all right? These are cloves. They're like close to like a almost like a cinnamon family, you know, that kind of thing. A couple cloves in your chicken broth are delicious, and I also like adding some black pepper rounds. So we threw all of those things in there, and it's cooking with the chicken, and I cover it. I do not add salt while I'm cooking it. That's because it just requires so much salt to make your chicken broth taste good that it's kind of overwhelming. So I do it all. I only put salt in when I'm cooking it. So that's that, okay? And let's put that over to cook and move on to our next adventure. That's hot. Okay. I'm gonna let that sit there. Next thing, feel free to ask questions. I'll get to them in just a moment. In this pot right here, I have what is my faux broth, okay? I would love to cook, can you guys see that? I would love to cook my matzo balls in really good chicken broth, but I'm not gonna waste my really good matzo ball. I'm not gonna waste my good chicken broth just for cooking matzo balls. It would take a lot of broth. Why do I want to cook matzo balls in chicken broth? Because it's more flavorful, right? Just like I taught you in my pasta class, we add salt into the water to make the pasta more flavorful. Well, the matzo balls are going to be more flavorful if you cook them in broth. So what I normally teach is to put a box of chicken broth in a big pot with water, okay? So you add water to it and add a few things that are alive, like onion skin, okay? Carrot, you know, throw some carrot in there. Celery, put celery in there. Something green like parsley. So put some things that are alive and bring that to a boil and let that be your faux broth that you're cooking your matzo balls in. Now, I don't have a box of chicken broth on hand. Even though in my book, I tell you to always have a box of chicken broth on hand because it can come in handy. I used mine and I haven't gone back to the market. That's okay. This is all about becoming an intuitive cook and using what you do have. So what I did is I made a faux veggie broth. Just the things I just put in here in front of you is what I did about an hour ago. I put water in with onion skin, and I also put in celery and parsley, and you could add a bay leaf in there. I have a leek. Look, you could take the top of a leek, smells like onion, stick it in there. All right, that's what we're going to be cooking our matzo balls in. So I am going to just go ahead and take out this matzo ball that I've already made. We will test it in a second. Hold on. And I'm going to put it in the bowl that I have. That's coming for later. Okay, so we have a matzo ball. Like I told you, I'm doing things in reverse right now. And I'm going to make the matzo balls in here. Now, I'm also gonna, I'm giving us this is like not advanced level, but it's because we just don't have everything in the house. I couldn't find everything today. Not today, when I went to the market. So this matzo ball mix, I'll try to decide what I'm going to tell you. I don't want to overwhelm you with information. Is that normally I also add salt to this water, so that this is like salty, and you're cooking your matzo balls in salty water, and that's really a delicious thing to do. This matzo ball mix is a little salty already, and that's because I normally have you buy matzo meal, not matzo ball mix. Okay, this is like matzo meal is like plain matzo meal, and this is like pancake mix, like matzo meal mix. This is all I could find at my health food market when I went a week and a half ago, and I wasn't going back. This is all I could find. It's not a Jewish market. What can I tell you? I was lucky to find these. So they already have salted. So I'm not salting this, but I am going to make my matzo balls about 1.5 inches thick. That's the way that I like them. 1.5 inches wide. I do not like to roll them into perfect circles. I like an imperfect look, and then I'm going to drop them in here, okay? And And I will show you in just a second, obviously, how to make this matzo ball mix, but I'm just going to show you what's happening right now, what I am doing. So we're making the matzo balls, put them together in there. And there they are. Delicious. I am now, before I demonstrate to you how to make the matzo ball mix, which is what, of course, you're waiting for, because I make the best matzo balls. Let me see if you guys have any questions, okay? Let's see. Okay, question. What kind of sugar am I using? Well, Joan, any sugar, but I'm using brown sugar. This is organic cane turbinado sugar. I often really like to use the dark brown sugar. You know, what you have is white sugar. I am not a pastry chef, guys. Whatever you've got. I prefer a brown natural sugar, but whatever you've got. Sandy Alloway, you're asking me how much water for the broth. I'm assuming you're meaning chicken broth. I think that what's going to be important is that if this is your first time making broth, that you might want to actually use my recipe in my Passover Recipe Bible, which is available on my website, or from my book. But what you're going to do is take your big pot that you have and stick a bunch of stuff in it and then put the water. I never measure the water, you know, so you're going to fill it up, put all the stuff in there, fill it up, and be done with it. The more stuff you have, the better. Don't worry so much about measuring. I promise you guys, let go of the measuring of the broth. Thank you. DG sent me a marry me emoji ring. Well, thank you so much. When this is, when we're out of quarantine here, I will consider. My mother always used, Carla says, my mother always used a turnip and parsnip. What do you think? I think that's fantastic. I think parsnip is great in a chicken soup or matzo balls. I love it. Don't have one in the house. I think turnip is fabulous for broth. Absolutely. The more root vegetables that you can put in your broth, the better. It's just that I'm limited in what I have right now. So thank you for bringing that up. The mixture for the cake that's in the blender, how watery is it before I put it in the ramekin? I think you saw that. It's thick. It's like a batter. It's like a thickish cake batter. Well, listen, I make these cakes all the time. We do it in cooking class. I do it when I used to cater. Sometimes it's more watery than others. So again, my recipes do not call for perfection 98% of the time. I let you know when they do. You know, pasta's got to be cooked al dente. But other than that, don't worry. If they're too liquidy, you might just need more time in the oven. So don't be too precious about that. Can I use bouillon cubes or paste in the faux broth? So here's my issue with bouillon cubes, is that I don't like the ingredients in them. They often have MSG. They say natural flavors, but that's MSG. There's like a yeast extract in there, so I'm like putting which is gluten. You know, it's like gluten or stuff that causes allergies for Jews. So I would say no. But if you like a bouillon cube and you're comfortable with that, sure. I mean, you can do that. I just want to be honest with my opinion. Joan Cohen says, can I use a mixer if you don't have a blender? Okay. Joan lives in New York, so maybe that's why she doesn't have a blender. Joan, a mixer, like a stand mixer, sure. A Cuisinart, maybe even better. The reason why a blender's nice and is super fine if you don't have one is just that, especially this high-powered blender, it's going to give it a lot of air. And so it's really going to puff it up and give it a lot of souffle look. You're not going to get that from a stand mixer. Is it going to be equally as delicious? Yes. It's going to be equally as delicious. So can you use a mixer? 1,000%. You're not going to look as pretty. Doesn't matter. It's going to be delicious. Okay. That's what I have. Sandy says thanks. She's not a cook, so she always wants to be precise. Sandy, welcome to my cooking classes. This is where I teach you to be an intuitive cook, to let go of precision. All right. We were often taught that we have to be precise in order to be good. We're letting go of that. Just I know it's kind of scary, but just trust me. I got you. It's all going to be good. And even if you or anyone messes up a recipe, and I mess them up all the time, It's not a big deal. You just make it better the next time. Okay, by the way, when you're cooking matzo balls, ouch, this is hot. Woo! You want to cover it. Okay, now that's happening. And let me show you how to make matzo mix. Keep the questions coming in. I'm getting a facial, which is not a bad thing. I could use a facial. Believe me, we can all use a facial. So I'm gonna do this right here in the midst of a mess. Hold on, let me move stuff aside. And we're gonna make matzo meal. So I am going to show you how to make a matzo meal, and I am going to make half a batch, okay? I made another half a batch earlier, so a full batch in total. It's just how many matzo balls can I eat? I'm delivering the other ones to my parents. It's enough matzo balls. So, you know, I am going to tell you about what I'm doing here versus the full recipe. The full recipe calls for 4 eggs, and we'll make about, 8, 10 matzo balls of this size. The half recipe is like 4 matzo balls. Look, you have someone in the house that likes matzo balls. Make a bunch of matzo balls. I mean, I don't know. My mom is probably thinking, what am I going to do with all those matzo balls? Well, guess what, Mom? Your husband loves matzo balls. He'll eat matzo ball soup. Believe me. So let's talk about my matzo balls and why my matzo balls are better than other matzo balls. One of the things that I do with my matzo balls that make them so good is that I take chopped herbs and I put them in the middle of the matzo balls. I put them inside the mix, okay? So that's what I have here. I'll explain to you what I've got exactly. Another thing that makes my matzo balls so good is that I put schmaltz, which is chicken fat or duck fat, in my matzo balls. It makes them so good. The first line of the spiel of my matzo balls is put a little schmaltz in your balls. Guess who doesn't have schmaltz in the house or duck fat? Me. I didn't go into quarantine thinking about Passover, so I don't have them. What did I use instead? Olive oil. Are they going to be delicious matzo balls? You bet. But I'm just telling you, if you got a little schmaltz or duck fat, you're going to have even better matzo balls. Another thing that makes my matzo balls really good, and I don't know if I have it right in front of me, I'll take it out, is I put the tiniest bit of ginger in there, ground ginger. And actually, I learned that from Joan Nathan. So that's in one of her books or somewhere I read that. So and I've taken that and I do that as well. So let's go ahead and make matzo balls. The first thing that I'm going to do is take 4 eggs, or if I have it, 2 eggs, and I'm going to put them into a bowl. And I am going to take a whisk that requires no particular skill, and I'm going to whisk this. I am not a pastry chef. I'm not doing anything fancy or special here. I'm just mixing them up, okay? The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add matzo meal. Remember, I already told you I had an issue. I couldn't find matzo meal, and I had to buy matzo ball mix, which means this thing has like salt in it already. It has, like onion powder, garlic powder. I wish it didn't have that. I wish it didn't, but it does. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to put that in here. Okay. The next thing that I am going to do is, I have to move this to the front, this to the back. This is a little bit of musical chairs here. Is I am going to cut up some herbs, which I don't even have a cutting board exactly in front of me. I don't know what I'm going to do here, but we're going to do it. We're going to do it on this marble thing. So let's talk about what herbs I have. First, I took some celery leaves. I am sure all of you have celery in the house. The leaves are very flavorful. So just go ahead and take some celery leaves, and I'm gonna chop this all together and put that down, okay? This was from fennel, but this is a big fennel bowl. You could also might have some dill in the house. Dill is super, very Jewish spice, herb. So just take those leaves and put them there too. Something else that you can do, hold on, let me show you something, is the top of a green onion. So you can just use a what is this called? Scissors. Sometimes when I'm teaching, I forget the words. you can actually scissor up all these herbs. That's actually going to be way easier. I keep a scissor or two in my kitchen for this reason all the time. I learned this trick from my friend Tommaso Torini from Florence, who literally, you know, in his old place, he used to open up his window in the kitchen where he had herbs right outside, and he just pick herbs and you chop, 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 right into the pasta. Okay, here's some chives. Wonderful to add chives in the matzo balls. What else can you add? You could do parsley. You could do cilantro if you wanted. You could even try a little basil. I'm not sure, that could be a little strong. But any of these green herbs are going to be lovely. I don't think you need to worry about having too many of them, but my recipe probably calls for a couple tablespoons of these herbs. And that's what I got. And it's going to go in here. Okay, you see, I haven't mixed it up yet, but it's going in there. What else am I going to add? Black pepper. Black pepper is going to balance out the saltiness of it. So if you're using matzo ball mix like I have, you're not going to add salt. But if you are using matzo meal, you need to add salt. You'll add a teaspoon of salt. So I like a nice amount of black pepper because it'll give your matzo balls a little kick. And then the ginger that I spoke of, just a pinch of ginger. It's like 1/8 a teaspoon of ginger, you know, for this amount. So just a little bit of ginger, just a touch. We do not want these to taste like ginger. And then I am going to just mix this together. And sometimes it requires a little bit of liquid, and in which case you will add a little bit of chicken broth. So I'm just using my whisk here, whisking it together. You know, how do you know if it's going to taste good? You smell it. Smells delicious. You know, you can even taste it. It's okay if there's a little raw egg, just a little taste. We won't kill anybody. And you just see, how does that taste? Good, but guess what I forgot? Oil. Remember I told you? Needs a couple tablespoons of oil. I forgot the duck fat. The herbs. It's the herbs. The herbs are amazing. So I just added some oil in there, and there we go. Okay, before we eat our matzo ball soup, and I show you that, the pepper. It's really, really good. I'm looking at the chocolate. It needs another minute. It's just about done, but let me answer some questions for you. Okay. Can I make matzo meal from my matzah, says Sherry Fogelman. I didn't buy matzo meal or mix, and she's using the Cuisinart. Using the Cuisinart, Sherry Fogelman. I thought about this actually, because I was like so upset that I could only find matzo mix. I am going to tell you, go for it. I have no idea how it's going to come out. My guess is that it might not be quite as fluffy. You may need to add like baking. I don't know if you're allowed to add baking powder or baking soda when it's Passover, but I would do a slight Google search and I would test it out. And I would love for you to let us know. I think we'd all love to know that. I think you should go for it. That's fun. That's the fun of Passover. Just try it. If they turn out to be not the best, who cares? They might be a little, you know, dense, but I like a dense matzo ball too. How much matzo meal? Joan Abrams says. Okay, full cup is for the full recipe, and 1/2 cup for a 1/2 recipe. In your artichoke pea kugel, can I use a substitute for artichoke? Okay, I have an artichoke pea kugel. Can choose a substitute for artichoke. This is in my Passover recipe Bible. It's delicious. It's a matzah kugel. One of the things that makes it so good is that we caramelize onion, and then you add pea and artichoke to it. I think peas are very particular, and I don't know how many other, what else I would use with it. I would just say, how about using more caramelized onion and more peas, and just let go of the artichoke, I think. I don't know, unless there's another, I mean, I have another one, which is mushroom. I don't know if you want to do mushrooms and peas together, but Sophia, Ilana, thank you for helping. This Gentile finally make her own matzo ball soup. You're welcome, Sophia. We love it. We know non-Jews love matzo balls. I mean, this is our big contribution to society, besides a few other things, matzo balls. What else can I do? Okay, I think I've got all the questions. I see some more questions coming in, but I am going to show us the chocolate cake, and then I will get to more questions if we have them. Okay, so can you guys see this flourless chocolate cake? It did not, well, I didn't put it in quite as much as I had wanted. If I wanted it to rise more, I would have needed to fill it to the top, which I didn't because I wanted it to be done. But I will show you what it looks like on the inside. I have a spoon, I don't have a spoon, okay. But you can see that it is like delicious. The reason that I know it's done is that the top is done. The top is not, it's super hot, guys. We expect this to happen. I'm like, got a lot going on here. So let's just taste it. Delicious. And what I love to put on top is ice cream, or if you're not doing ice cream, that's okay, but definitely a drizzle of olive oil. Believe me, the extra olive oil makes it so good. Half the people that I tell this won't do it. And then I do it in cooking class. I just pour it on their cake and they're like, oh my God, that's so good. I didn't think I was gonna like it. Just try it. You don't taste the olive oil. It just gives it that goodness. My brisket is amazing too, says Sophia. I know. How's that for an answer? I know. Let's do a matzo ball soup right now, okay? So right here, I have a matzo ball. I'm gonna do something. We haven't salted our broth yet. So ideally you would salt, all your broth together. I'm just gonna put this matzo ball on the side. I've got to move some stuff around. Okay, so somewhere I have a ladle. Here she is. So remember, your broth always needs to be salted before you use it. So I am going to add some broth in here. And then I am going to salt it to taste. Now, let me see where's some salt. Well, it's always something. So it's always something. I'm going to add some salt. Now, here's the thing. Broth requires more salt than you think. So you're like, oh my gosh, it's quite a bit of salt. Yes, it is. I'm just going to stir it like this, and I'm going to drink it the old-fashioned way. Just see, I don't have a spoon in front of me. Okay, guess what? Two things. It still needs more salt. And I can see that my chicken broth needs to cook longer and become, stronger. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep cooking this for another few hours uncovered so that some of the water evaporates and the thickness of the soup itself becomes stronger. So you'll see that if you do not salt your broth, it will not have flavor. There we go. Okay, next, where's my matzo ball? Goes in here. And then I would love to put some fresh herbs on it, but at this point, okay, here we go, we have a little parsley. I mean, yeah, look at my parsley, it is falling apart. Have I thrown it out? Absolutely not. It's just missing water inside of the xylem and phloem, but it's still delicious. Has good flavor, and it can go directly in a soup or it will fall apart anyway. And then, I mean, I can't believe I don't have a spoon. Always I'm forgetting something, but let's see what I got here. I mean, hello. I'm going to use this. I'm going to taste this. It's meant for coffee. Oh, yes, looks delicious. And guess what? It is delicious, okay? So I am here to answer questions. I see some coming in, so let me answer them. What makes this so delicious, by the way, is how flavorful those matzo balls are. They're really good. They're very good. Okay, so Nancy says she could not get the frozen artichokes for the kugel. Are canned ones okay? Separate from this. The difference between canned and frozen artichokes is the canned ones sometimes have like a citric acid on them. Rinse them very well and then dry them very well, and you're good to go. Joan Abrams, why do you have to put in the fridge for a minimum of 4 hours? I put the mix in for 20 minutes and it comes out okay. All right then, Joan, if it comes out okay for you for 20 minutes, then do it for 20 minutes. My experience has always been that it requires more time, but I've never actually tried after 20 minutes. So up to you. Is this a standard size ramekin? Yeah, the ramekin that I'm using is a pretty standard size. But like I said, you can go bigger and just cook it for longer, or you can, do it all in one big baking pan, and it will work. It won't be that big, a medium-sized baking pan. Shizuko, when do you put olive oil into the mix? It doesn't matter. You can put the olive oil at the beginning. You can put the olive oil in at the end, like I did. It doesn't matter. These are matzo balls, not French cooking. Sue Izzo says, wow. Hi, Sue Izzo. Andy Harrow says, how is your soup not oily? Well, first of all, I'm only dealing with 1.5 pounds of chicken in here. I don't know. My soup's not ever very oily. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know why your soup is so oily. It might be that I'm often using chicken backs and necks that aren't that fatty. I'm not sure. I never really have oily soup, and it's not really an issue for me. Michelle says, how are the matzo balls fluffy and not sinking to the bottom? Well, this is a shallow bowl, so I'm not entirely sure that it doesn't sink, but my matzo balls are kind of fluffy on the outside with a little density on the inside, and that's the way that I like them. I don't know. They just are. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to that. They just how they always come out. Leanne says, are these matzo balls sinkers or floaters? Thank you. Everyone wants to know. These are here. Let me see what's happening here. Let me look at these matzo balls cooking over here. I would say I never put them in a bowl that's so big that they sink or float. I say they're in the middle. That's how I like them. I don't like all super puffy. I like them half and half. Let's see what's going on in here. This is where I'm cooking the matzo balls. Let's take a look. It's kind of hard for me to show you, but if anyone has more questions, answer them, ask them, because I'm going to wrap up. Okay, these are floating in here. These matzo balls, as they cook, are floating. So, and here they are. They're floating. Do you notice how they're not perfectly round? That's how I like that. I don't like a perfectly round matzo ball. When you have a perfectly round matzo ball, it looks like you got it at the neighborhood Jewish deli. We're not making deli food here. We're making homemade food. So these look like they're done. Okay, guys. So looks like you don't have any more questions, and we are coming to the close of this class. I want to let you know about how you can stay in touch and how you can continue to learn from me. We are going live on Instagram on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4 p.m. Pacific time. It is possible we may change this time because I'm trying to find the best way to get people. We've moved our platforms around a little bit. Forgive me, it's very confusing to figure out. It's not like there's not one way to stream to all the different platforms. So if we missed you on Facebook today, I apologize. If you liked Zoom, keep me posted. Let me know. That's good for you. We love Instagram is working for us. My Passover recipe Bible is just go to my website, scroll down, elanahorwich.com, and you will find my Passover recipe Bible. Even better than my Passover recipe Bible is the Bible. This is the Bible of cooking. Meal and Spiel, how to be a badass in the kitchen. I teach you how to cook intuitively. The recipes in here are Italian inspired with healthy California influences through the adventures of a Jewish girl. There are Jewish Italian recipes in here as well. Amazon is very slow to deliver right now. But we are shipping them from my warehouse. You can get this 500-page denim covered beauty of a laugh out loud book on my website, elanahorwich.com, and there is a 20% discount if you use the code KitchenBadass20. Please bring your friends to these online classes. The more, the merrier. Really, it keeps me going, keeps me doing them. I love feedback. Like, let me tell you the feedback I would love if you're still here with me. Do you like these to be an hour class? Would you like them to be a half an hour more often? How does that work for you? Would you like them a little more regularly, less regularly? You know, where are you watching them? I'd love to know that. What do you want to learn? You know, I'm taking requests. I love getting all of this. So let me, final questions here. Kimberly Smith, do I put the unmade balls mix into the fridge, or do you put the made matzo balls into the fridge? I don't really understand. Kimberly Smith, you take the matzo mix, it goes into the fridge. It stays there until you're ready to cook them, okay? Once you've made the matzo balls, you serve them. You can actually keep them on the side and then just put hot broth on them and they'll get hot. Please keep zooming, everyone says. Okay, zoom, 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 zoom. And some people say they're like an hour is perfect. If anyone prefers less than an hour, let me know, because we might be moving in that direction. They like Zoom. Everyone likes Zoom. Okay. So, not Shana Tova. I was going to say Shana Tova. It's not Shana Tova. What is it? It's next year in Jerusalem. Listen, everybody, Passover is about freedom. So let's just really celebrate the freedom that we have. We have so much freedom. If you can walk, you have freedom. You know, if you can talk and you can listen and you can see, you have freedom. There's so many things to be grateful for. So I just want to remind us all of that. If you missed, you know, any of my previous Passover recipes, you'll get it on my Passover recipe Bible. Somebody says they made my chicken with prunes, and it cooked so long that she could burn the pan, but the chicken melted off the bone. Well, it means you needed more liquid, Linda, but that's good that it came off the bone. That's it, guys. All right, we've just ended class. I love you, and thank you for being here. And please send your friends to me if you want to get updates about these cooking classes. The best way is joining my mailing list and following me on Instagram. Okay, if you're not on Instagram, make sure you're on my mailing list. Just go to elanahorwich.com and sign up. That way we will let you know what we're cooking and when. This class was amazing. She loves the dessert class. Maybe a yummy brisket recipe. Brisket is so hard to do in an hour, but my brisket recipe is in my book. Guys, I got brisket covered for you, like you have no idea. I love the 1 hour on Zoom. What can I tell you guys? You love the 1 hour on Zoom. Okay, that's it. I love you. I really, really do. Thank you so much for coming.